pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Hi, thank you, everybody. Good to see a full room here. Before we get started with our regular board meeting, we do have an assessors meeting. Shouldn't be too long, I think, but I'm going to call the Board of Assessors meeting to order for July 15th for the town of Damariscotta. And we have one agenda item on. I believe that's the tax commitment mill rate. And I think we'll open it up. Andy, anything you want to add to that? We good?
There you go.
Yeah, yeah. So Ed will,
I got a few different proposals.
yeah, the Moses here. Yeah, come on up and we'll put you on the hot seat here and no smoke yet. Nope, not yet. How you been? How things going?
Pretty good.
Good.
Busy.
Yeah.
That time of year.
Oh, no, yeah.
Doing it every-
Everybody's fiscal year's coming now. So, yeah, we see we've got a few different proposals here. And
We have three different proposals. Mill rate of 16.02 will leave 18,636.06 for an overlay. 16.03 will leave an overlay of 24,511.19. And the higher mill rate 16.04 will leave an overlay of 30,386.32.
Gotcha.
And this is again pretty simple because we decided to capture all of the TIF, everything that you can from the TIF. So right now it's just, we plugged in the TIF amount and it's a simple calculation and decision of
Yeah.
decide which mill rate.
Yeah.
Do you mind just walking through how the TIF impacts the calculation?
I will do my best.
Okay,
Essentially, the difference in value of from the growth from last year over this year is the amount that we can capture and save. That amount is taken out in that mill rate cap in the first column of mill rate to set the rate, less the max captured asset value. That's all the value in the TIF district right now. And we subtract that from the overall total valuation base
okay,
to get to a point where we can pick a mill rate. And then once you've decided the mill rate, that's why we have three options, that the tax amount from that, which is $158,300, or it varies, $158,000
Yep.
goes into the second column under the TIF financing plan amount. And that adds to, that basically changes the overlay and that part is shown.
okay.
And we had a factor adjustment on this one across the board.
This one, yeah, so about 3 years ago, we had done one.
Was it 19%? Yeah.
This is a year where if we didn't do one at all, we'd
Yeah.
be well below the state's statutory limit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
we couldn't hit, they had us at 62.
50.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I think that with a 10% allowable, we'd be at 68, and they reduce, for every point, they reduce 10% of your reimbursement for tree growth.
Yeah, and homestead and all that.
And-
Yeah,
and
you lose out.
yeah.
So what did we end up doing? Was it 40?
4-0.
is it
40?
40%.
40? Yeah, yeah. So folks will see the mill rate. We're at
2103.
2103 now, and we're gonna see a 16 mill rate, but it doesn't, that's how the mill rate doesn't mean anything.
So-
The taxation's still the same, yeah, so we get
Yeah.
hung up on the mill rate, but it's,
right.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, there's one of the documents you prepared here, it's the tax rate comparison,
Yeah.
so it's capturing the changes between the 2 years. In that total taxable value, the 172, that's the increase where most of it has to be the change. The revise.
I believe so, I don't have.
Yeah.
And I guess my other question, the real question I have is, did we add any like real new taxable property this year?
I asked Rob that when he was here last week. I don't want to
We'd
say
have to go to
about 5 million, maybe.
Okay,
I'd have to look at last year's mill rate calculator versus this year's. I didn't think to do that.
Yeah, because Rob had showed he had to do it pre-40%, obviously, to see what that growth
Yeah.
was. And then I want to say he did it this year. I think it was about 5 million that we
5
had,
million.
which
because that's one of the goals is to try to,
400
something million last year, 5 million, I mean, it's a lot, but it's not
Right.
a meaningful, huge, I mean, we don't talk a lot about development in terms of bringing up the bottom number, the value there that we're
Yeah.
leveraging. But it's not insignificant, but it's not,
It doesn't move the dials hugely.
right?
Yeah,
Not enough, yeah.
yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. Andy, as far as the overlay is concerned, I know we've done different numbers in the past, but, are you comfortable with anything? I mean, the mill rates are so close and the overlays are 18 and 24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no meaningful difference on those.
Yeah, it's not.
There's reasons you would choose to have an overlay, near the bare minimum. On the calculation sheet, as you can see, there's a range the state allows you to exceed a certain number.
Mhm.
You could have the overlay at 0 if you want. We don't need to utilize it as a cash flow tool. Town has. Its finances are such that you don't, some towns do use it as a finance tool or an intentional way to build your surplus. We're not at that point. Cash flow is not a problem, generally speaking, so keeping it low will minimize the tax change.
Yeah, so I think it would be safe to keep it on the low end with that 16.02 mill rate, then that comes in at 18, right? So,
Yeah, last year you can see we're at 12,000 for an overlay.
yeah. Oh, was it that low? Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah,
Year before, we had a bit higher because of the change in contract amount for the
Yeah.
maintenance, and we'd already gone through town meeting and
Yeah.
stuff. We had used that overlay in that year to try and absorb, buffer some of what we knew would be coming the following year for commitment.
yeah, that's right. I think about 1 year we had up was almost 100, was it 100,000 something? We had it that
I
high?
think we were 75.
It was up, yeah. I'm trying to remember in the past, but, okay. Yeah, probably, not. Okay, all right. Very good. Any questions while we're in, well, I'll make a motion to, recommend the, mill rate set at 16.02.
I'll second that.
There's been a second. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor? All right, that passes. It arbitrarily feels good to say that number, but it's a numbers game. Yeah. So, for folks that are listening, we are in so that factor that we're talking about is just across the board for valuation. Have we started yet? Are we going in with the reval? The reval's coming up through over the next
Yeah, there's
few years.
no field work, nothing really in earnest yet. We initiated that with them, had our first meeting, but they won't start field work probably until later this fall.
Yeah,
We'll message that with the community. The revaluation will be happening, and will be target date for that to be effective July 1 of 28, so our FY 29 fiscal year.
yeah. So it's be ongoing. So we'll get some real numbers eventually, but. Okay, any other business while we're in Board of Assessors meeting?
I have the certificate of assessment with the signatures with that 16.0 on the rate.
Oh, great, okay, so we did that sign for
You
you.
double check that one, it should be on the 3rd page, I think. Where it actually says, the front page shows
All 3 pages they
Yeah.
signed, plus those 4 spots, 3
Yeah,
pages.
it's 4
We'll
pages.
grab it later.
4 places.
We can, like I said, do we need, now we want to do it later, it's fine. You do it.
Yeah, biggest things we have it for tomorrow, right?
yes.
Yeah, we'll get it.
So I can
We'll
get
it
it
signed
tomorrow
for you.
and run the bills, if it's all done, I can
Okay,
make copies and put them with an E&P.
all right, thank you. Any other questions while we're in the? Good, was all right.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Ed.
wasn't too bad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, have a great day.
All right, I'll make motion to adjourn the Board of Assessors meeting.
Second.
Some seconds, any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, all right, with that, I'll call the Damariscotta Select Board to order for a regular meeting of July 15th. Okay, we dig right in here, so. Tom, we have some minutes.
Yes, the minutes are in order, so I make a motion to approve the July 1st minutes as written.
All right. Tom made a motion, do I hear a second? Is it?
Sure,
Second?
sure, I'll
Dan's got a second, all right. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Okay, wow, you got minutes through there. Out,
Still
Tom?
fresh new year.
Tom always finds something in there, so. Did everybody get a chance to look through the financials? Okay, any questions, concerns, anything jump out, anybody?
No.
Okay, I'll move payroll warrant number one.
Second.
Thank you, Daryl. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor? Okay. And I'll make a motion to move accounts payable warrant 60 and 2.
Second.
Need a second. Thank you, Tom. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor? All right, and so moving into citizens' comments and general correspondence, I think we have a Castner Brook culvert replacement to talk about. Oh, yeah, you're up.
All right. I like it.
Yep, we can get 2 chairs up there.
That's why this one right here.
Oh, you got one? There's payroll warrant, that's 1, and then 2 and 60 to carry over.
Oh, did we do that one?
Yeah, yeah, so we got, I did 60 and, okay, sorry, yeah. Or it sounded like 62. Oh,
Yeah.
My
All right.
name is
Yep.
Andrew Hedrick. This is Stacy Ann Gordon Barber here. He's
Yeah,
also from Gartley and Dorsey. We're engineers that have been obtained to design the Castner Brook culvert crossing, while kind of working with DOT through this process. So this is the Castner Brook on Church Street. So just to be clear, it's that section underneath Church Street, right down the road from here. It's currently it's a 6-foot diameter pipe that we're proposing to replace with an 18-foot wide, about 7.5. We're still working on the final details. Precast concrete box culvert. So that will be the replacement. So the culvert has the box culvert that we're going to put in is going to kind of be sandwiched in there between, where the tide comes. So the tide comes all the way into that, and there's also a sanitary line that runs across the top of that existing pipe. So we're going to kind of hold those elevations, push it down, but we're going to make it significantly wider through there. It's actually going to match basically the natural channel. That's what we're going for. Right now, that culvert kind of chokes it all out. So we're going to try to align it with the current channel and kind of straighten it out and push it through so it'll be a nice wide flow through there. On top of what we're doing with the culvert, we're also proposing to kind of widen that road out a little bit so that we can have some nice room for the plows to go through there without rubbing up against the guardrails. And then we're going to also incorporate a sidewalk through that section. So I know there's hope and future plans to kind of tie Church Street and extend that sidewalk down there. So we're going to have it ready with a sidewalk across this bridge section that'll kind of terminate at that intersection. We're still going through the details and the final alignment of how that sidewalk will kind of fit in there, but this is the time to kind of initially present it to you and show you this is what we're thinking. This is about where it's going to go. We're proposing to kind of just put some general boulder walls in there for retaining walls along the edge there. I don't know if you want me to point at some of this stuff. So just for everybody that can see where I'm pointing, here's the proposed box culvert in this location. We're gonna put the sidewalk along this edge that kind of runs up to a tip down and a future crossing to kind of tie in. And the hope is, this is Church Street right here. The hope is they'll do the Church Street sidewalk project at some point, and we can kind of tie into that sidewalk all the way across there. But here's the little culvert now that's in there. It's about a 6-foot diameter. I think most of us saw where that water was during that catastrophic event.
Oh, man, yeah.
So we were all trying to go at least 2 or 3 feet above the road. So that was everywhere, unfortunately, but regardless, this is a stream smart design, so it's been designed in accordance with all the permitting requirements, all the agencies to make sure that we can get proper fish passage through there. We can open that up and be habitat friendly for this entire process here. So we are working with the permitting agencies. We've kind of started that process already. We're working closely with DMR and Maine DOT. The hope for this is to kind of go through the design process for basically the rest of this year. So between design process, getting it to final designs, and into permitting by the end of the year here. That's the goal. Hopefully we'll be into permitting as early as September here to get that process started. And then once we get through the designs this year, the goal would be to send this out to contractors for bidding early next year, 2027. So somewhere in that January, February timeframe to get it out to bidders with the hope that we can be under construction all the way the following year. So they would like to be out there into the March season of next year. So the way these projects work, you have to construct them in the winter window. But because we're gonna be doing paving, we don't wanna be in there late winter and then have to deal with road pave. So we're gonna try to target this for late winter, early spring, so we can get the work started, get the culvert replaced and be ready for the paving plans to open in May. So that's kind of how we've strategized this. And it takes 6 months to 8 months to get these box culverts nowadays. So you have to have almost a year lead time by the time you get your contractor set up and by the time you can get a precast.
Where do they
box
come
culvert.
from? Where do they come from?
We've seen a lot coming out of New Hampshire, but there are a couple of companies in Maine that do these, but
Okay,
the construction window on these are so tight and they're so high demand that the plants just aren't big enough to satisfy that. And obviously, the further we go with a concrete box culvert, the higher it costs. So if we give them a nice long lead time, we're seeing like 20 or 30% difference in cost instead of chasing one from out of state. So give them a big lead time. Hopefully we can save some
Yeah,
costs
no
and,
doubt.
and get those products in a little more cost effective. So I know we're talking about it now, but it will be 2028 before we actually see that construction occur. So it just is gonna take that time to go through this process.
So I know you're an engineer, so this is probably unfair, but do you have a rough idea based on what the design is as to how long that road will be out of action?
I'm thinking it's probably about a 2 or 3 month construction window. I think we like start in March, finish in May. And I don't think, so they're gonna have to close the road at some point in time to make these transitions, but the road closure isn't gonna have to be the entire duration of that project. Usually what I see is they can get in, they'll focus on getting this tightened up and they'll get the road back in passable, at least one lane will be passable while they do all the wing walls and do all the connections and stuff like that. So you can get that activity back through there, but I would anticipate you're gonna be out of commission probably for at least a month for the road closure. And before we do that, we'll properly notify everybody, EMS, everybody will be tuned in, the buses, the school, the towns, everybody will be tuned in to when the road closure will occur. And again, these are all tentative. Once we get a contractor on board, we'll kind of go through their sequence, their construction schedule. I don't like to dictate on how they do things. That costs more money when the engineers get involved in sequence. So we're gonna let them kind of let us know how they want to proceed with that. But the goal will be to minimize disturbance, minimize traffic disturbance, if you will. But unfortunately, it's the nature of these type of projects, and this is a good road to be able to do that on. You can go around, it's not that far to go around, it's an inconvenience. We understand that, but it's a short inconvenience, a couple of minutes one way or the other for the detour on this.
Yeah, it's not too bad with the intersection and then short section here, so
Yeah, exactly. So
it's gotta be done.
yeah, it does. It has to be done.
Yeah.
So that's where we really stand on the project. We're just kind of starting through the process. So we'd love to hear any comments you have on it.
just curious, as an engineer or engineers on a project, was there anything unique about this project that made it tricky, or was it pretty straightforward?
The depth. So this project is challenging due to the depth of the structure versus the road height. So there's a significant amount, so above the culvert here, I think, so we're sitting at, so if you go back, Andy, to the other sheet there. So the road is sitting at elevation about, or just over that view, but
Oh, sorry.
yeah, that's right. The road's sitting at about elevation 16 and that stream invert down there is at elevation 0. So there's 16 feet from where that stream is all the way to the road surface.
Okay,
And somewhere in there, we know where it is, not somewhere, we know exactly where it is. We're not guessing, is a sewer line that runs through the middle of them. So then on top of all that distance, we have a sewer line that's kind of sandwiched in between that. So we have to protect that during construction, and we have to work around that pipe or impact it if the contractor needs to actually cut it, temporarily stop flow. So that's the trickiness to this one.
okay.
Other than that, the flows are normal. We have tidal action all the way into this, but we have good tidal action, meaning we can hold it back. The tide only comes like partially through this culvert in normal tide scenarios. So we can coffer dam that and hold the tide back, so it doesn't push into it. So it should work out for construction, but yeah, it's the height and the sewer line are probably the biggest challenges here.
Any reason why, oh, maybe you did and you turned it down, but any reason why you didn't think about a bridge instead of a culvert?
A cost, yeah. The precast box culverts, while they're when you say how they are expensive, everything's expensive nowadays, but they're the most cost-effective solution to this. And then coupled with the fact there's a sanitary line there that we need to insulate and protect, you get into trying to create a sandwich of material and bridge, and we just find that the precast box culvert structures, as long as we can keep it under 20 feet, that's kind of the next structure size that exceeds most of the standard precast box culverts. Once you exceed that, then you get into having to do a bridge span of some capacity to get that cost savings back. But under that 20 feet, it's a precast box culvert all day for cost, really, is what we focus on. And constructability, and that's why it's less expensive. It's easy. They put the bottom in first, because we do like a clamshell. They can put the bottom in, fill it with the native material and try to get a normal stream established in there, and they put the top on. So it makes it an easy construction. Hopefully
Modular.
Yeah.
This might not be a fair question, but and when you referenced that catastrophic storm.
Yeah.
we had, what if we have another one between now and March?
This structure will, between now and between now and March, we'll probably receive a call and we'll do the same thing we went through last time. So the road was determined that it was,
right.
that it was in
Yeah.
good shape. It's probably not any more vulnerable than it was before. I know there were holes that were opened up, but there was geotech that was explored it, and they kind of determined that we're okay. The good thing with these culverts is that the failure of these things is not sudden, because they are metal. You kind of see like a depression, even when big holes open up, the pavement starts to sag and you start seeing depression. And then with this one in specific, is because it's so deep in the ground. If there's ever an issue with that, it's gonna take a long time before you would start seeing settlement. There's so much material in there. You could have like the whole culvert partially disappear, I think, and the road structure above it would hold it in shape for a long time. There's so much material above that. So unfortunately, we can't help with the anticipated flooding. We are seeing those storms pretty frequently. But the new designs, we do accommodate and plan for those catastrophic normal events that we're starting to see. So we are planning for that in our designs, and we're oversizing everything to hit these 500. Usually, I mean, when I first started doing this, the benchmark was 25-year storm event. Get to 25, and then we slid it up to 50 shortly thereafter that, and now we're all targeting 100, 200, 500-year storm events. So
What was that one that happened to us a couple of years ago?
it exceeded the 200-year storm event. Yeah, and the problem with that is there was another one before that too that kind of staggered those up. So it was over 100-year storm event. So it's somewhere in between the 100 and 500 year. I think it was like 8.5 inches of rain or something like that in 24-hour period, which is well beyond that. So the normal storm events are sitting at 5 inches of rain for a big 25, 50-year storm. But that was 8, and that's a lot of rain in a short period of time. There's nowhere for it to go. The ground gets saturated and it all runs off. So it was significant. Yeah. Let's hope we don't see it that severe again soon.
The flow capability alone between the two,
Oh, yeah.
Culvert, I mean, how do you factor that in there? So exponentially.
Well, that actually, Stacy and I were talking about on the way down. I says,
Yeah.
I was trying to gravitate, because I haven't actually looked at the numbers I have, but I don't have them in my head right now. But
Yeah.
it is easily 10 times, just based on
Yeah.
size there.
Tremendously.
So it'll handle a lot of flow, but the key to that is you gotta make sure we're not causing problems downstream either. So,
Mhm.
we'll stabilize it all with riprap and make sure we're not speeding it up through there. And if we can
Yeah.
get the stream wide enough and allow it to naturalize, it'll kind of take care of itself, and everything will naturalize over time. And so we'll have, easy 10 times. Probably by the time we get done with our number, it'll be 20 to 30.
I say, I'm gonna try to
Just
do
on
that,
and
yeah.
with this area alone.
Yeah.
But we know a 6-inch pipe, if you put an 8-inch there, it's not just, holding
Yeah,
it,
it's
significantly more.
Yeah, just
Like double the capacity.
exponentially more,
Yeah.
so. Yeah. Anything to add? Funding, how we?
It's gonna cost to construct.
Yeah.
Part of it is we don't, until we get those bids back and actually finish it with change orders that may or may not occur. With
Yeah.
things you couldn't fully account for. We estimated, I think when we got the grant, we estimated a cost like 980 or 970 grand all in. And so I think, some of it, you'll get some numbers for us as they hone in on.
Yeah, we're revising
Exactly.
estimates right now. Yeah.
one of the next pieces for us to make sure that we would have time if we need to go back to the state, say, hey, the projections are coming a little bit higher than we thought. Do you have any
Yeah.
extra you can do? Because the grant we had is the state through the federal grant is paying 80% of this. So we've got the reserve money, we've got the bond money from before.
Yeah, we still have some bond money
Still,
for
so,
the big project, so.
You know, if it does exceed a little bit, you know, we're, as long as it's able to still help us on the overage, we'll be okay. If we need to cover the full overage amount, just need to know, or, you know, we have some tools we can.
Yeah,
use to
but there's,
pull the money.
not starting from ground zero, so, yeah.
Yeah, this has been, geez, when you guys started this in 2018, 19,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it's been a long, I'm trying to go back to when we,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think it's been about a 4-year hiatus. It's been about 2 waiting for to hear about the grant, and get a
Yeah.
contract signed, with them, but that was in 23, I think, it was when we submitted the grant.
Yeah.
You guys had wrapped up a memo for us, I think in like late 22.
Yeah,
With some numbers at that point, so hopefully the creep isn't too bad from 22.
I think you'll be all right. I know those were pretty conservative numbers, when they went through, and I'm hoping our design will further simplify that. I mean, that's our goal, is try to get these costs down. Hopefully we can try to tighten those up and make it as cost effective and efficient as possible. Granted, there's a
We
sewer
appreciate
line
that,
that runs
yes.
through the middle, so that's always a challenge.
There's always
Like I said,
something.
It's 16 feet in the ground, so
Yeah.
that's a big hole we have to.
And that's what we know about.
To get in there, that's what we know about, exactly. The water line off the end, I didn't mention that one, there's a water line in the stream off the end of the good thing is it's not below the project, but it's out in the front there, so.
Yeah.
And everything, it's
The other thing worth noting, while we're all here is, you know, you talked about, you know, the eventual, trend. Progression of the sidewalk in both directions, actually, but I brought up to you a few weeks ago whether we wanted to consider, when this goes out to bid, also bidding that upper section of Church Street to do the sidewalk while there's already an impact, or whether we want to put it off. Again, I mean, we would have, there's a significant amount of private money that's been donated to make sure that section happens. I think with that and bond money, we can do that without needing the federal earmark that we were awarded, which came in far less than what we need. And then let that money be used on another section of project. And so would the town wanna proceed in that direction, which this team has already started way back when, and had some preliminary designs for us, was kind of dusting that off, and you wanna try and marry those together when, you know, put it to bid at the same time?
Well,
Thinking the same
going,
contractor might bid on them.
going,
Yeah.
both going south, it's already covered? Going to meet where it is at the cemetery?
No.
No,
It's not funny.
so that needs
In
to
the
be
rest,
funded
we're
also.
estimating about just under $2 million to do that, not the culvert piece, but just the road improvements and sidewalk piece. That
Okay,
whole stretch of Church Street.
okay, all the way
and-
from the
and-
cemetery to,
And finishing Hodgson, that backside of Hodgson, widen that out a little bit. I think we were just under $2 million all in on all of that. And the award, and then when we partnered with Coastal Rivers to try and get a more attractive project funded, the ask was $3.5 million, we got $850,000 for almost a $4 million project
Right,
combined,
yeah.
so. How that 850 might get split between the two entities to go towards both projects, we still need to work out. But no, we don't have enough money to do the whole thing, and so the idea would be take the worst section out of it and at least get people to be more safe, because once you get through here and through the school and Hodgson Street intersection, at least it flattens out a little bit, it's, the line of sight's a lot safer.
Yeah.
Coming down through that turn on that hill.
Yeah, that's tight down through there, especially for.
Yeah.
for
You know,
folks
you can,
walking.
while this is happening, you know, maybe it'd be an extra 2 months, I don't know, we have to know what that other additional impact might be to feel more comfortable. Do you wanna put the people through another year of construction on that upper section, or just maybe extend it another month or two and do it at the same time? Efficiencies with the same
How
contract.
far away are we, we're going out to bid though, we're quite a ways off, right?
You're a few months off, but we've done quite a bit of work there with preliminary designs. We started doing assessments on where we'd have impacts to properties and how we were gonna
Yeah,
try to offset that,
but
so.
you didn't do the sidewalk all the way out.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you
we
did?
have that preliminary all the way out
What's
to
the harm in
Maine.
having them, you know, give
Yeah.
us a split bid, we're.
No, we're,
Two different.
yeah,
And that's what I do is I would recommend you run it and due to funding sources, you run it. You just coincidentally do it at the same time. You
Right.
know, but you run it completely separate, so they're not tied to each other at all.
Right.
And you just send them and submit them out at the same time and be like, by the way,
Yeah,
we're also doing the sidewalk.
Yeah, bid alternate,
And and in your town stuff, you can reference, preference to have the same contractor that's gonna be awarded the bid for the Castner Brook, do this project at the same time, so you
Yeah.
can put whatever you want in your stuff. You can't do it in the DOT one because they're very specific on how that gets bid, but you have some flexibility to kind of write your own language into your side of things. So it would be highly recommended to kind of do that and at least see the numbers at that point. I think we could get there. It would align, there's plenty of time to kind of catch up and align with this project schedule, especially if we're targeting having, bids out at the end of early next year. There's plenty of time in there for the work we've done to kind of dust the designs off and review them and kind of take them to the next step. There seems to be a decent amount of time there to do that.
Fair to say that for that upper section, those road improvements and sidewalk, it's probably the biggest lift at this point will probably be acquisition of rights and right of ways if needed.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Again, I should have looked. I wasn't prepared to review that. It's been a while since I looked at those plans, but we tried to minimize impacts to rights. So what we did is there's enough, the road kind of hugs the one side. It kind of hugs I guess it's the northern side of the road more than the southern side. So what we had planned on doing to minimize property impacts, and they're all developed, there's a lot of landowners and bushes and shrubs, is to kind of kick the road over. So we were gonna expand the road on one of the sides, pick up, 4 or 5 feet, on the southern side of the road, while putting the sidewalk kind of on almost where the edge of the road is now, so that we wouldn't be encroaching and trying to minimize property rights that we need to acquire and trying to center that road a little bit there, so.
Yeah, the ditch is on that side of the road, and so it's like,
Yeah.
that width you would need should generally only incorporate the ditch line.
Right, yeah.
But the private funding must have come from landowners on that street, right?
Not necessarily.
Why would anybody that doesn't live there wanna, okay. All right,
People feel moved in different reasons, different ways.
So,
no, go ahead,
so
Anthony.
this will connect all the way up to the by.
Yeah, the multi-use bi-lane project will be going from the school to kind of that island at the gas station right before Hannaford. And then there'll be a crossing at Biskie and Main and Church to bring people into Church Street.
Yeah.
That project will terminate at the coastal rivers, that stone path they have there.
But this one will connect right
And then
up
this
to
one
it.
will connect us
This
to
would tie
that.
up, yeah, so that would tidy up and bring that all the way back down to Captain Brook, so it'd be a good chunk to.
And that's at least once you get down to the Hodgson School Street intersection, it becomes a little easier to navigate as a
Yeah.
pedestrian. You can go over Hodgson Street.
You can actually get across the Castner Brook now without
Right.
jumping over
Right.
the guardrail.
It's gonna be quick. It's gonna be quick.
Not him, on Church Street, a couple of people asked me, it's like, are we ever gonna fix the road, when they did the construction there last year and it's like bumpy and holes and there's like.
Yes,
Never
yes,
mind.
someday.
Like before we do this project, like in 28, so,
Yes, it's been requested.
yes. Yeah. I think somebody's suspension is.
No play.
Moving on.
I think their suspension was,
Last I knew the sanitary district was proposing that we had some of it fixed, some of the worst spots after the winter. And my understanding is that the additional water line work the funding's come in for that to go all the way to the intersection, because they stopped at about the hair salon up here, Mia's.
Yeah,
And so they need to pick up from there and continue to the intersection.
Oh, okay.
They had saw cut all the way up thinking that they were gonna be able to go, but there were some overruns, there were some issues getting the water line going under this creek here. They had to, I think, do that three times before they successfully were able to get it at the depth that it needed to. And so that created some other aspects of the bigger project they had, and some other parts caused it to kind of go over. So they were able to secure the funding. They're waiting to get the schedule from the contractors, likely this fall, that they'll come back and do that. And so that they were suggesting they would go back and correct all of that kind of after the project was.
When it's all done, yeah, so I was gonna ask you that, they still have water line to finish up, so we'd have to that in, obviously, before sidewalks and road improvement on our end, so that would be done most likely first, and.
Yeah, that should wrap up
That
that
should be
fall.
done in the fall.
And then we're talking early 28
Yeah.
at this point for the rest of that. So plenty of time for things that they settle to
Okay.
settle, and most of what we're talking up through there, that road bed's pretty decent shape, the other section, we were talking full box cut, I think on that.
Yep.
Uh,
Geotech was done, I believe, for that section, right?
uh,
Thought it was, yeah, maybe it was planned, I don't
Yeah.
remember. Been doing that whole section for a while, yeah.
I think I'm, the board, it wouldn't make sense not to look into it if the, the planning's there and the funding is more or less in place and set aside, so I don't see why we wouldn't
Good.
continue all that.
We
Yeah,
agree.
get that little piece of the puzzle in there, oh. Yeah,
Kind of switching back to the Castner Brook piece, we'd love to hear any comments that you and the public has, kind of in the near future. This is part of the process. We have to document if there's any concerns, so.
Sure.
If you can have everything kind of come through and, kind of work through the town, and then the town can kind of let us
Yeah.
know so that we can document all that stuff. If the
yeah,
public's
if anybody has any,
hearing this, listening, it'd
Concerns
be
or
great to
whatnot.
share any of their concerns, so we can incorporate concerns now and address them and make sure we tidy up the project to make everybody happy.
Mhm. Yeah, I think the addition of a walking, a
Oh,
sidewalk.
yeah, it'll be nice and wide, for one, they won't have water going over the top of it.
It will, yeah, the water, if we get the water through it and we can walk on top of it, I
Yeah.
think those are, other than that, I think we're pretty good,
Straightforward
so,
goals here.
yeah, no doubt, yeah. Oh, okay. Great, thanks, Ed, Andy, you good? All right,
All right.
board all set?
Thank you. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thanks for coming in, guys, yeah, see you, nice
Thank
meeting
you.
you, yeah, no, yeah. All right, good, yeah, we can proceed, and so it's nice having plans kind of ready to go, and get, yeah, it's not quite shovel ready, but close enough, so. All right, well, let's move on. Next on the agenda, we might have some concerns from some Bristol Road residents. I think maybe there's 1, 2, 3, 30 Bristol Road residents here. So, yeah, it's, the floor's open, so if you want to come up and just get information, your name and whatnot, you guys you're prepared here. This is like yeah, oh.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Come on up.
I'm just gonna introduce myself.
Yeah,
Karen
please do.
Wells,
How you doing? Yeah.
65 Bristol Road. And my husband Peter, he has handouts for you all as well. And he will be doing the major portion of the talking or answering of any questions. We have
Here, thank you.
some concerns on Bristol Road with the speed of the traffic.
Great, thank you.
And we were worried for the safety of the pedestrians and the other drivers, the cars, transportation and whatnot. And I'm here with some other Bristol Road folks.
Have some,
We formed a committee called the Bristol Road Traffic Calming Committee. And so, Peter, jump into it.
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So once again, my name is Peter Wells. I'm this committee. We've been meeting since December 8th, 2025, with the goal of reducing traffic speeds along Bristol Road to make it safer for not only vehicles, but pedestrians. The new sidewalk that has gone in has made it extremely safer, and you guys did a nice job with that. First off, we'd like to give a big thanks to the Damariscotta Police Department for their recent aggressive efforts in patrolling Bristol Road. We see it as neighbors. They pull over a lot more cars than over the past 4 or 5 months, and it's great because we have noticed traffic is slowing down. Since forming the Bristol Road Traffic Calming Committee, we've met with neighbors, we've met with the ambulance services, we've met with local businesses. We attempted to meet with Miles 5 different times, but they were extremely busy, so we didn't get much feedback from them. But we really attempted to meet with as many people as possible. We also met with the previous committee that was on Bristol Road that helped with the sidewalk, and we heard from them as far as what some of their concerns were when they were working on their project. We've obtained crash data that I had here from the automatic traffic recorders, which are the black boxes that were put in roughly 2 years ago, for about a week. This is the data, summarized, from that black box. There was over 33,000 vehicles analyzed during that week. It's up there 24/7, so it really catches a lot of vehicles. There were enforceable violations over 12,000.
Yeah.
The fastest speed was 82 miles per hour. The slowest speed was
I just read that, I'm like,
in the 20-mile-per-hour section.
Wow.
This data is.
So is that
in
the
a-
stretch from Miles to,
What's that?
is that the stretch from Miles to the Bristol Road intersection with,
No, it's just one spot.
okay,
The black box was set up, as you cross Days Cove.
yeah,
It was right there.
okay,
So it just.
it's hit that data point right there,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
right at that instant,
yeah, helpful.
That's
Yeah.
cars going north and south.
Yeah.
So this was helpful as far as obtaining more data, for us. We also did our own speed data analysis, with a radar gun, in my driveway.
Okay.
Which was a lot of fun. We had over 1,800 vehicles. I was out there for 8 days, half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the afternoon. Total number of vehicles was over 1,800. Number of vehicles speeding over 35 miles per hour was 230. Number of vehicles speeding over 45 was only 9. And it wasn't as bad as we initially had thought, but quite a few enforceable speeds. The fastest speed that I clocked was only 48 miles per hour, and that was a car going out of town. Number of northbound vehicles speeding was 87, southbound was 143. So that helped with our data. Let's see, we've discussed methods to calm down the traffic, methods that might be not as expensive as it would by putting in speed bumps, which we don't recommend because of a number of issues, but we came up with speed feedback signs, which are solar powered. They basically tell you how fast you're going. Some of them request you to slow down. Some of them thank you for slowing down, which is kind of nice also. And they're basically put in the ground with a pole and concrete, and that's it. Cost wise, they range in cost depending on what size you want to get, but they range in cost from $3,200 on up to about $4,800. So that's something that we were looking at. And the areas that we were looking at for feedback signs would be coming out of Main Street and then on up to Miles. That's the area that we were looking at. We didn't go further beyond that because of time constraint. But speeders will slow down 80% of the time if they see something like that. Typical reductions in speed are between 10 and 20%. So basically, we wanted slower speeds and safer streets. So we are requesting from the select board that the town would consider purchasing and installing speed feedback signs. So with that,
thank you, Peter. You've been busy.
well, yeah,
Oh, your group's been busy.
the whole committee was-
Yeah, no doubt. Holy moly. That 82-mile-an-hour one blew me away when I saw that.
Me too.
So it's gonna be a typo. It's yeah.
So one thing that surprises me is that the speeding is mostly southbound, because coming over that hill going north, you have to put the brakes on to
Exactly.
even maintain your speed. Because of the,
Yeah.
weight of the car going down. So
And I
would-
think southbound people are leaving, town, they wanna get home or whatever,
Yeah, they're
or
headed.
get down to Bristol or so. And it's a straightaway along there, whereas coming northbound, you do have to go over the hill and then down. And then you see the 20 mile per hour sign, crossing Days Cove.
So on the north, southbound, where are you seeing the speeding? Because when you come around Days Cove, it's really hard to see further until you level off. So I would be surprised if people are speeding at that point. And then you
We
have,
saw,
Go ahead.
it speeding as you, come down Days Cove from Main Street, and as you're starting to go up the hill, that's a pretty long straightaway. And that's where cars are starting.
Down and,
Mm.
yeah.
And then once they head over the hill, they see the blinking light for miles.
Yeah.
So that does deter some of them, but, they still do speed.
so if that's the case, where would you put the sign?
We didn't really discuss exactly where. One thought that I had, I walked it yesterday. There's a, existing, 30, existing speed limit sign right as you cross Days Cove and just going up. It's existing there now. That might be a good spot to put one. But that's another point that we can talk about. If the town does have any, traffic engineers on board, we can meet with them out there, but, we can all
Placement, yeah.
walk the site too.
Peter, with the group there, because I've heard a couple things. I know this is, the Bristol Road stuff's been a concern for a long time with traffic and whatnot, and, is it anecdotally, is the group's feeling that the existing speed limits are okay? People are just going above them, or, because I've heard some different things about reducing the speed limit
Sure.
and, or state gets involved and, yeah.
We had different, points about that, and some people wanted to change it to 25, the entire section on up to miles and even further.
Gotcha, yeah.
Personally, my concern about trying to consider changing the speed limit is, but that's a whole different project. These speed signs can go up by just requesting to MDOT, whereas changing the speed limits, you have to do a quite extensive study.
It's a whole,
And
yeah.
MDOT, it was tried to be changed years ago, and MDOT did.
They don't give it up.
Needed.
Yeah. There was, I don't remember what road, I'd have to ask, I think this was when Matt was here, but there was one road in Damariscotta, I think, that we got the speed limit change and the state put it up.
Westview Road.
There was one that went up, was it Westview?
Yeah.
They tried to reduce it and they actually came back, and said, no, you need to go faster.
No, well, Westview, they'd actually reduce.
Did they reduce it? There was one, I don't remember what, was it? Maybe it was.
Ideally, if we could change the whole thing to 25, like it's done across the river, that might be a good thing, but the process of doing that.
It's, yeah, you're doing with the state.
It's not up to us, I mean, it's state,
How,
state road.
how far out is the traffic sign, the one that we authorized the purchase of there, the feedback sign of the?
Probably, well, before it gets here, probably 6 weeks.
Yeah, okay. It's not-
Before we get it installed, it'll be
Yeah.
probably into September, my guess.
Yeah.
August, we got the excavator rental.
Oh, gotcha.
Use of that as much as they can.
Yeah, and then the mobile one, the one that has, and that has.
Oh, the mobile.
I'm talking about the mobile one, yeah,
Yeah, that's also about 6 weeks.
yeah, okay, so.
Yeah, we talked about a mobile one, and the only problem on Bristol is there's not much area to put it.
Yeah, it'd be,
And where you do put it, where there are areas, it's private property.
Yeah. we need permission. I was just thinking for the interim right now, just so folks know, we do have, and it's not specifically for
Yeah.
Bristol Road, but we authorized the purchase of it's a multi-use, but
Yeah.
it also data tracks and it's.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, so it was,
They're not cheap, but. they're-
no, but it was necessary because the highway department can use it, but there's times when it, in the interim, we could look at setting it up somewhere just to see, Yeah, it depends on where it would fit, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's that pull off there, just as you're heading southbound,
Right after Days Cove.
right after Days Cove, that whoever owns that, we could see if that could fit there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be an interim use for it if this, the highway
I
department.
I'm not sure if that's privately owned, that's probably part of the right of way.
Think so.
I think that's, yeah, I think that's probably that little pull off. and stuff.
Further up, that parking area is owned by the house that's across the street.
That's the one I'm thinking of, yeah, he owns the park, I get mixed up, yeah, parking lot.
Yeah.
But in the, I mean, interim, where we do have a device coming that
Yeah.
could do some of that in the interim if there was some, yeah. Does anybody have any questions for Peter, or at least?
Well, it's been commended, it's a lot of work.
A lot of work.
and nice job. And you got all the stats.
Committee, yeah,
Yeah,
we're, we're a pretty tight knit committee and.
yeah,
Can I ask what's the next step? After we make this request?
yeah, no, it's a good question, I think we would ask, like, I mean, the first thing, a lot of times we look for grant funding for things, I don't know pricing of these signs, what it would be, if there's any. Sometimes there's grant funding available, and a lot of it comes down to funding, where the money comes out of, as you know, I think it's something we can probably look into.
Does this require the DOT to approve it though? Cause it's a state road?
I would assume so.
Yeah,
We can check, I don't know if they'll necessarily have to, I think if we're saying, hey, well, put the sign up, they'll probably be more than willing to let us,
Right, and if we're
but.
paying for it,
We'll
but
ask
yeah,
them to
but
verify.
you may have to, so there's some legwork there to find out.
And as a committee, we also offer to do. Not the total fundraising, but a little bit of fundraising just to help out.
Okay.
We could ask neighbors, at least start there, ask neighbors and businesses. I'm not sure how much money we could get, but. We could consider doing that.
Sure.
Can I be clear in understanding, is the desire to see two signs or one sign? One southbound, one facing, one
One
northbound?
southbound and one northbound for starters, yeah.
And do you have,
Too.
some quotes or whatever for the pricing on this stuff
Yeah,
that you could share?
I mentioned, I did call a few companies from around the country, and they range for, just for the sign from 3,200 on up to
Yeah.
42 or 4,600. Installation could be done by the town, it's not that hard, just concrete footing and, the pipe. But,
But if you have that research, maybe you can share it with us,
sure,
Andy.
sure.
So, yeah, I mean, it's something we can look into, Andy, just. Put it on your.
I mean, yeah, the good is we do have that trailer coming,
Yeah.
there's one direction at least, a temporary, starting point for the fall at least.
Yeah. And where the majority of, yeah, it looks like the majority of the speedings on the southbound head out of town would be. Prudent maybe to get it, you know, if we gotta use it and try it out, so it'd be good to maybe find a spot to set it up facing that way and get that,
So,
because those.
So did you get the
work.
license plate number of the one that?
Our devices don't capture images
No.
of the speed, you just capture the speed,
uh,
time,
Okay.
you know, just.
In
that
cabin, yeah.
Kind of data.
so in
Not
addition
block
to
camera.
speed, are there other safety concerns on Bristol Road right now?
Yeah, come on up, we'll get your, Yeah.
The 22 Bristol Road. And again, we love the sidewalks, they're wonderful. But what happened when the sidewalks were installed was we moved all of our mailboxes across the street. Which is fine, but when they're going 82 miles per hour, it's quite dangerous.
You cray.
You do, honestly.
I watch the wheels.
Yeah, I mean, it's frightening. And this time of year, there's a lot more traffic and coming from Main Street, moving down,
we're going home.
yeah, and at this bend where he's talking, I think it's probably worse than at my house. I can see, you know, that they're coming, even though they're coming quickly. But I think that that's a concern. And the other concern is that the crosswalks, at Main Street, Bristol Road, the light is sometimes green when the crosswalk light is go.
Still have time to.
And I mean, there's 10 seconds to cross, which is enough time to cross, but if a car is coming up Bristol Road and they take a left and you're in the crosswalk, that's what happens.
Yeah, there's been a lot of issues with that intersection.
And so, I mean, Susan and I, 3 weeks ago, yesterday, were hit by a car.
Oh,
And so, yeah, and so we're fine, you can see.
Okay,
we're
yeah.
pretty bones, but we're still recovering.
Yeah.
And it was a car that didn't stop.
and that was in the, which intersection that was at the?
Bristol Road,
Bristol Road.
Main Street.
Bristol Main Street, yeah, so.
It's funny, because even when it gives you the go little figure and the numbers, I always look right and left because people are, whatever, I get it. Never in my wildest dreams look to see if someone's gonna make a left-hand turn.
Because the light's green.
Mhm.
And then when we went back to take a look, it's like, well, it was legit, the light turned green, and granted, you don't hit people in the crosswalk. But,
Yeah,
I was like, well, that's a problem, because they're not synced.
Well, it's not an all stop, is a challenge, and so that's been a request is to make it an all stop.
Is that
When
what
the
it-
crosswalk is engaged, so that someone could actually make the full crossing
Oh.
happen. But because, yeah, if you push the button to cross Main Street, Bristol Road also has a green light at the same
Gotcha.
time that they are tended and supposed to yield, but of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing going the other way.
So many more pedestrians, I mean, just up and down the street, which is just lovely, so.
So the crossing movements are being looked at, you might have heard about the. DOT had noted a couple years ago, they were gonna do some improvements to Main Street from just north of the light, where Church Street comes in, all the way back up to where it enters into Route 1 again. The town decided to, we asked some questions, is it gonna include improvements at this intersection and that intersection? And I
Right.
said, well, you can join the effort, so. The planning study does incorporate the pedestrian movement at that intersection. That work's ongoing by the end of the calendar year. There's gonna be some concepts to consider and look at. From there, it's a matter of, okay, well, how long will it take now to run this out and actually construct all this and how much will it cost? And, but all of that, just to be said, like, at least looking, is there another safer place to cross this busy intersections? And that's not a good short-term solution, but it is something that's on the board's radar and, that's being looked at. We did have someone just look at lights yesterday, there, so they did, I know one of the issues is as one light turns red, the other one turns green within a second or so, so people being quick to the.
There's been
Jump in,
quick,
there's really, even less of a buffer, not quite the same thing that you're mentioning, but so they did expand that time between the change. There was a button on one of the pedestrian activated ones that was malfunctioning, and so that caused the lights to favor Bristol Road, if anyone was traveling particularly in the evening hours. So I think that's been corrected or will be. So we've been looking at it. It might not seem complicated, but we'd have to certainly involve DOT safety team. Maybe we could do that at the same time to bring up Bristol Road concerns further down.
do they need to do the all stop, that needs to be authorized through?
I think it'd be wise to have DOT safety team kind of bless that.
Yeah.
I'm traffic engineer of sorts, and if they can do
Yeah.
it with their team at no cost to us, that's even better.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, but I wonder what that process, they probably have to give the check off on that to do it. So that makes sense, it's not the first time we've had that, an issue up there, so, yeah. Okay. Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe we could look into just what's available out there for signage and just, maybe poke around, see if there's any grant funding in the meantime, when we get the unit we have coming, it's just not dedicated just to Bristol Road, it's got multiple uses for police and highway, but, it's a good place to try it out on. It's a take collects data as well, so that's,
The other thing the other thing the board authorized, at the Miles, intersection, is a new set of pedestrian activated lights. We could take the old ones and put them on another section we have. But the new set would have data collection, traffic data collection tool in it. And so we'll have it's not when the box is there, when the trailer's there, it'll always be at that low spot, which I know is a challenge with speeding as people come down both hills, frankly.
Yeah.
So that'll be just continuously reporting, once those get installed, that'll be a fall.
Does the radar sign, thank you?
This is just, it's just collecting, there's no feedback, unfortunately, but,
I don't know if we can message the other one to say something on there, yeah.
I think that.
Do you have a stronger statement you wanted to say?
I do, but.
The speed trailer that we're getting, I think, does have the ability to display back something.
Mhm. Yeah, I thought it did.
I think in the presentation.
Yeah, showing it, like your speed and, Yeah, because those are, I mean, I know personally those are effective when you come into a place and like, there's a couple, like coming into Thomaston or something, there's one over there and you see it, and you're like, oh, okay, but the old up by the prison, yeah.
We talked to a half a dozen towns on where they got their speed signs and radar things and,
Yeah.
a lot of them were grant.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, as everybody knows, the biggest thing is it comes down to,
It does.
we want to do everything, but where do we get the funding from? And definitely look into it. I mean, this has been something that's, yeah, this isn't a new issue on a Bristol Road. It's ongoing. I appreciate you guys getting together. We did have one of the other resident, Valerie Seibel, reached out through the portal as well. And, I don't know if she belongs to your group or not, but she had basically the same. She couldn't be here tonight, but this I saw earlier, but had the same concerns and whatnot, so close calls and speeding, so.
And
Yeah.
I'm curious, have you guys connected with, there's another group in town that's focused on pedestrians, safe, PSAC?
Right, yeah, yes, some of us were, but they were more concerned about sidewalk and pedestrian linkages.
Okay,
But.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
Can I
you.
just have a quick
Thank you.
thing?
Oh, absolutely.
Cross Street, the crosswalk is pretty much gone. Do you know where it is, between the banks there? On Cross Street? Are they,
Yeah.
is it scheduled to get painted in?
It's not at the moment, no. I'm looking at Daryl, because Daryl works, happens to work for the bank and has asked the question within the last 2 weeks. So it's a mid-block crossing,
Yes.
and if we're following the standards, that should be signaled. Right, it's not at an intersection, it's not properly sighted. I think the town's a little bit at risk if we put that back after the paving is done, without putting a pedestrian activated button there. Not being an engineer, I can verify that still, if that's the case, but my understanding is those should be signaled. Just like the one up by the school, mid-block, middle, not that it's high speed or high volume necessarily, but, the town might own a little bit of risk if we just put a crosswalk there.
Well, that's a shame, you know? So, okay, thank you. Thank you, Bowman.
Oh, we'll have some further discussion too. Done a little research myself.
Understand.
No, thank you for the information, you guys, you guys have done a lot of work, we appreciate it, and then we'll, if something comes back to the agenda, or, I mean, sometimes it takes a little while to, you guys know, to get the slow moving wheels of government, so, but there is an interim solution that we can help out with, that the town has bought, so we'll give it a try, so.
If we chose to do fundraising, would it move it along?
It may, I mean, my recommendation, I mean, if we did 2 signs, and then the installation, if we can do it in-house, great, but, there's $6,000 to $8,000, by the sounds of it, and we didn't budget for, not that it can't, so I'd say towards the end of the fiscal year, which would be next June, May, June, we would have a better sense of, it's kind of like with speed trailer this year, we saw that there's a need, there's money available to do that, but because it's not specifically, but it's a pretty good chunk. We'd have to say, okay, we're gonna take $8 grand out of our plan, general contracting line, the board couldn't decide to do that now, but I might suggest waiting if we have some things coming to try those.
Is that first sign or is that for both? Roughly both.
That speed trailer is gonna be a great trial
Right.
to see what kind of effectiveness it has.
One lane, one direction, but we, at least we can get the one side, and then maybe find a place on the northbound with that as well.
Yeah.
The short answer,
Thank you.
no, we would not consider, private funds coming into it, so.
Or would be happy to contribute. I don't know that we can contribute, $8,000 to $10,000, but I feel like this is a big deal to us. My grandchildren got on the school bus at the end of my driveway and cars are tiny,
Just, yeah,
it's frightening.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Thank
No,
you.
no, you're fine. It's a great question.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So, all right.
Thank you.
Well, more than welcome to stay and hang out with the rest of us. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. So,
Good to see you guys.
all right. Yeah, such a busy road down through there. Oh, no, like,
82.
isn't that wild?
Well, that's one outlier, but it's crazy.
I know, that's,
Was that only one?
I don't know whether.
Was there
Applaud
only
them for
one?
handling the car down through there that fast.
It sounded like it was the middle of the night.
Yeah,
Oh,
But
Yeah.
again, that's
Still.
a serious outlier.
that's
No
insane.
kidding.
It's insane, yeah.
And these Subaru can accelerate.
I'm pretty sure, I don't know, I'm, looking at the PD data when they were, I think they got some pretty high speed ones too in the last few months down through there. I don't know if you recall any of the numbers, but there were some,
That 82 was from their box.
yeah, but I mean, it stops though, traffic stops, like ticketed ones. I think they get some significantly over the speed limit going
That I
down through
haven't
there.
asked what the.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember from the, from the posts, what if there was there, but, there were a few that were moving.
It's hard to believe. even though-
Yeah.
The corner.
So I have a question for you.
No,
So,
yeah.
so if they raised half of it, would the town consider, you think, the other half?
I think it would be a matter of where,
Yeah,
just
I mean.
because your funds are, if
I
funds
raised
are.
the question as-
No, I think it'd be worthwhile looking at, we'd have to see, because the funds are committed, so we'd have to see where they
Well, you can
would.
make a motion, you
into.
just need to pull it out of,
You mentioned-
something else that you might have planned to do,
Yeah.
that's all, because we weren't planning for that.
But I really
But
think having
you
our
can
portable trailer tell us the story of what it's gonna affect. You're gonna get a direct reflection.
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, more data is better
Yeah, I
at
mean,
this point.
Yeah, that's the thing, it doesn't have to happen right now, because we have the trailer coming in. So we've got some time, it sounds like the folks there want to look and see if there's some funds available, so even if it's
I think the spring projects, yeah.
4, 5, 6 months down the road, right?
Things that we don't know from storm impacts that are gonna happen.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things, and then just, you'll have a better sense like we did this year.
Yeah, yeah.
In springtime where we're sitting, I think you just do it.
well, and again, you're gonna be looking at a lot of information at that point as well.
Mhm.
They're doing the enforcement now, which is key. I mean, you can put all the signs up you want.
Yeah,
You need
exactly.
Both to happen, that some will be voluntary compliant, but for those that aren't going to be, the enforcement is hopefully.
Yeah. They can pay, yeah. So no, the PD's been very active down through there, and I think that's been a big help, and they mentioned that as well, so. All right,
Oh, did they tell us when they did these? Before the police started doing it or after?
Peter said he did it this past winter, his,
Oh.
Yeah,
yeah,
he had 800 cars that he had bought.
yeah, he has the dates there.
this data,
Yeah.
came from this period of time,
Oh, this
June of
was-
24.
Oh, 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was a couple of weeks.
Well, that was kind of another leading
So it's a
question
week.
to that was, is there been
Yeah.
any change
Yeah.
since the enforcement's been?
Yes.
Yeah, this is old data, but it's,
Yeah, and Peter did his in February and
You live on
March.
yeah,
So,
Waiting
Yeah.
for some answer.
No,
So-
I'm here to, I'm here as the
Yeah.
I just.
Oh.
but having the fresh data collection and from a couple different devices, because we'll have the lights up there too, hopefully by that point, so.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that should help a little to
Yeah.
that and,
Well, so yeah, just the data collection side of it anyway, so.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they've done a lot of work, they've proven in our boxes, have proven people do speed. There's also
absolutely.
sometimes the perception of, so having both, the anecdotal plus the
Yeah.
actual data will be helpful and.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's no doubt that we can, whether we can or can't do it, I think we can, it's just a matter of making sure you feel comfortable with. Pull the money early in the fiscal year if we didn't budget for it versus.
yeah,
I agree.
so if these two ladies both got hit, is that something that the police would have recorded?
There was a emergency response.
Was there were?
Yeah,
Okay.
percent to that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where was-
Pretty sure all
Main
agencies did it, fire.
It was
police,
at that
EMS.
intersection, the
Oh,
light.
okay,
yeah, they were.
cause that gets captured and reported to DOT as well.
I'm assuming that
For
would.
dangerous intersection.
I'm assuming that would, I know vehicle crash impacts, I'm pretty sure that, so there's a DOT map viewer. And there's a crash, everyone can go see that online, you
Right.
can open up the crash data and pull it on the map too, so I'm assuming we don't typically see a lot of. The pedestrian ones are usually car and car, and so I'm assuming those
Yeah.
pedestrian ones are also captured in there.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, there will be
Yeah.
a fair amount of information that
That's concerning.
understands how and why that happened. Usually when you click on those.
And yeah, just to reiterate, so the state has been looking at. Light data and what, right, in that, with the stoplights and whatnot.
We had a contractor come.
I'm sorry,
Look at
yeah,
those,
I miss,
recently, because we've gotten a lot of complaints
Yeah,
about
okay.
the speed at which we did learn, John shared with me that when they were looking at it, we assumed that the traffic heading into town, coming over the hill by the chamber building, that the angle at which the sensor was pointed at just wasn't capturing, because if there was a line of cars coming up Main Street, it stayed for quite a while, and you could get a lot of cars heading south and into Main Street through there. But when there wasn't anyone really piled up at that other side heading north, it would be very quick. Come to find out that it was an old enough system that there is no camera sensor mounted at the top that's communicating to the box. It's actually a in-ground system as they used to use. Someone has to be at the stop bar, not the first one by the chamber, but the next one, which if you're following the stop here on red sign, you're not going to be at the next one. And even still, if you don't go just far enough up to it, and
Okay.
not register you're there. So they did expand the time, and so there should be some improvements there. Folks have been mentioning it to you. Take
Well, I
a look at
don't
it.
think they've done the button thing yet, because I think it was last evening, I was coming through. No one on the road,
Yeah.
and I came to the light, and
82 miles an
it
hour.
went green and then immediately red,
Yeah.
and I was not doing.
So I wasn't
Yeah.
certain if they replaced it, they might not have had the part. They did identify that there
Yeah.
was something going on in there. John thought that was the case.
Something wonky.
But I was sitting at, was it Church Street?
Trying to come off.
Watching the traffic go past me down Main Street. I watched 2 cars go in front of me, go through that red light. Just like, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
How can they go through a red
We're
light?
from New York.
No, it was Main plate, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's, that's the reality is like signage and limits and enforcement. You still need people to drive responsibly and.
It's the same people who go backwards through a drive.
Interesting.
Oh, no.
All right, well, let's move on. We've got some,
Okay.
some department reports. We've got some quarterlies here that, Andy has provided us with.
No consistent format. There's just focused on
There we
having them come in. We're trying to get departments to present these. John had Roberts had done this, a couple of them now with the fire department. The last few months, so just trying to do that, trying to get back onto at least a quarterly commitment, doing like a newsletter of sorts, so.
Yeah, it was good.
Figuring, first step is get these in from the departments, share these with you, so you see a little bit more about the inner goings ons, in between the times that they might be here. So you have one from the police chief, one from, John, road foreman, and.
Learn from the
A
time.
very, very high level snapshot overview of the budget as it, the last checks has been printed. And just did another run, I think, for 26. I think it includes those, but. These numbers might change a little bit if there were carry forward requests that'll be coming, but this gives you a sense of, where that sits. Sits now, for ending balances. There's a couple that are over, general government, for example, the warrant article was like $1.2 million, and it includes admin, assessing, planning, development, solid waste, a whole bunch of them. So the overall warrant article hasn't been exceeded. The exception of potentially public safety, where it's got fire, traffic lights, street lights, animal control, hydrants. Four of those 5 things have gone over a little bit, but still not beyond the contingency that's allowed, on another warrant article, so. And working with Cheryl, the idea was that some of those, if we need to, will just be journaled to like the contingency line.
Okay.
So none of it warranted the need to go back to special town meeting kind of thing. I think we're keeping an eye on those.
Okay.
When it comes to all of those items, there's not really no, don't fix it. If it's a street light out and we exceed it, I'm probably gonna wait until, but if it's a traffic light that's malfunctioned and is actually down, we gotta get that fixed.
Yeah.
So when animal control, you have to go forward with that hydrants, and you gotta pay that. So we were watching it, overall, in a good position, 220,000. You see the revenues. In almost all those categories as we had budgeted for, some higher than others, but all exceeded the budgeted amount.
Was it,
So
so
that position was
this
good.
is just a quarter, right? Snapshot of the quarter.
This
Yeah.
is,
April to June.
well, this also shows year to date, and so the end of the year balance as well.
Okay.
So it does show the activity, in that current month it shows, but the year to date and the balance is reflective of what we're ending with for the end of June.
Okay.
So I see in here that the blue light program is in effect.
Mhm. The chief of police, yeah.
Yeah, so how did that go into that? I mean, they changed all the bolts or what did they just?
I'd have to ask him. I don't.
The store was maybe just.
Yeah, it sounded like a voluntary
Yeah.
thing where he went around and people agreed to.
I have not made an effort to change one and put one in the parking lot.
I haven't.
This will be able to hard part.
All right.
Not lost, just haven't done it.
Me too.
So Andy, all of these things are online that people can read.
They are.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
can say to people, if you're
Yeah.
interested,
Exactly.
we're getting quarterly reports.
Oh, yeah, this was the first one, yeah.
What I mean,
Yep.
I think this is this is really
Yeah,
great
this
that
is,
people
this is
can
all public information.
read this
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
see,
I think so, yeah.
you know, because people are, if they're interested.
The only suggestion I would have is that they be presented a little more uniformly. Yeah, so they,
Yeah, working on a template or something that they can be, yeah. Yeah.
So I think that it's
Are there
great
any,
that it's getting them.
any highlights or anything in any of the quarterlies anyone wants to point out,
Well, I
police or
think-
public safety or?
I'll just correct that these are not currently on, not all of these are online. There are two that weren't in the posted agenda. When I say online, I was thinking I put hyperlinks in the agenda for this meeting.
Yeah.
And that's online. You can click on those hyperlinks. There are two, the treasurers and clerks, that I need to update that.
Okay,
You get that there, but also we can create a landing spot for quarterly reports somewhere else on the website and have a consolidated place for those.
in
isn't
fact,
that a good
if, when
idea?
you do that, I'd recommend that, you put a little article in LCN News announcing it.
Every time.
They'll do it for nothing,
You envision that every time.
no,
No.
announcing it, you're gonna now put them up there
Oh.
on the website.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I really appreciated the public works one, because I thought that really gave a view into what those guys
Yeah.
are doing.
Yeah.
It really everything.
Yeah, I
I
know.
know.
Yeah, it sounded like this
They got
thing
the-
with five guys standing around with a.
The flag, I appreciated the flag, the new flag.
Yeah.
I mean, it really lays out what those guys are doing. I thought it
Well,
was.
it's, there's a lot of little stuff in between. You see the projects happen.
Right.
And, you know, painting and doing this and that, and then you see all the little, it's like, yeah.
what they do, and so it was nice to just.
Yeah,
that was
I
good.
mean, they were busy.
I went down to like, we removed one dead bird from Hillside Cemetery.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. He really come on.
It says one, 2 deer, 1 bird. No, I don't know what's going on there. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was one of the ducks from down the road
Oh,
that got
okay.
dragged up in the cemetery.
Oh.
but it's, yeah, like to Daryl's point, the takeaway from that is that, you know, it's a busy town and two folks in that, you know, in that department are
Yeah, I just think.
always something.
It gives a
going
good
on.
blueprint. of what
It does.
those guys have done.
Yeah,
Well, and the policeman too, 'cause we never used to get these from.
I did not push for them and I probably should have been.
Yeah.
You know,
Just a new
here we go,
request.
bring this back. And-
This, it's fine,
Yeah, it's good.
this one is doing it, and so.
Yeah, I know the PD's been able to keep up with the weekly, Facebook posts on
Yeah.
activity for the week before, and I know that's been garnering some good feedback, so.
it's a nice
I'll make an
flashy.
effort to do more outreach communication and
Yeah.
just share what's going on.
Who's doing the social media forum down there?
Combination of Emma and Chief.
Chief, okay, because I noticed, yeah, like in the last month, it went from just a list of things to a nice, I mean, it looks nice, it's
Yeah.
presented very nice, so the boys are coming out there, so it's,
There's things we're cautiously embracing with AI.
Yeah, that's-
And so creating those graphics, we're not graphic designers.
yeah,
But to go from just that single list is
Yeah.
not super eye-catching and attractive to prompting the tool to say, take my data and create, you know, and you can work through prompting it to change it, might click a few times, but so we're leaning a little bit into
It's-
places where we don't have staff to.
yeah, it assumed it was AI generated, but it's presenting nicely.
It is.
Yeah, for their PSAs and stuff that have been coming.
We don't have to
through, yeah.
reinvent the wheel.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's been, again, positive feedback, folks, appreciate that.
Yeah. We can move on, any thing jumping out on the manager's report here? We've got all the other quarterlies, but. I didn't jump out anybody on
I
it.
just wanted to ask about that housing presentation that's coming out.
Yes.
A little color in that.
What's that?
It is scheduled.
It's scheduled for August 3rd.
Okay,
When you hear back to see if, in along the way, if the barn is a possibility. If
Oh,
not,
okay.
we can go to the Damariscotta Fire Station.
and so what's gonna happen at it?
The engineers and their team, they have a few subs, 3 subs, I think. So the engineers, team are gonna bring forward the concepts for the 3 parcels they're looking at.
Okay.
The coastal rivers, the corner there at Main and Church. And then both fire stations, ours and Newcastle's.
So does this mean that the planning board is gonna, these 2 meetings are happening, they're planning board
Yes.
and they're
Yeah, planning board will
one
be here.
meeting,
No,
2 events.
no, two events, 2 board, 2 things happening at the
dear.
same time.
So housing is happening at the same time as the planning board.
It is unfortunately, yeah.
Okay,
So
but we should be going to this housing.
encourage that, yeah. If no permits come in, well, there'll still be a planning board meeting unless they want to move it, but yeah.
Okay.
Joint with Newcastle, right? That's the one.
So this will be a 3-entity effort, town
Yeah.
of Damariscotta, town of Newcastle and coastal rivers.
And Coastal Rivers, yeah.
Yeah.
The hope is that we might see 60 to 80 people, given that there's 3 very different things.
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on, 3 organizations.
Okay.
It's first draft kind of concepts. I mean, we just met with them last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Got an update on the site constraints from the wetland impact. They shared with us some footprint, concepts, to understand kind of scale to the lot area overlaid with the wetland maps, just to start to understand kind of like lot coverage. They wanted to tease a little bit more out of, still out of the design and, the scale, when they show you the footprint sitting on your lot for what you thought was gonna be 12 to fit 12 units, and all of a sudden you say, well, that's a lot bigger footprint than I was thinking, or hey,
Yeah.
that's not as bad as I was thinking. If, what would another, if we just had 1 more story, how many more units could we get? And one of the buildings designed, I think it was 8 units per floor, another one was 12 units per floor, just slightly different footprint or slightly different combination of bedroom sizes or unit sizes, so. We're just going through, the plan would be, here's a concept, first draft, give us a feedback, what do you think about this? And then they'll work through with that feedback. Work through, kind of refining that from there, and then there'll be something more finished and final, towards probably what, end of October or so.
This is really exciting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy we're doing it.
I am planning on, we get it back this week, or it'll be next week, signing the contract for the GIS. Parcel viewer, 60 to 90 days to get that launched. There was another company we looked at, was very impressed with its tools and its editability. This company, they'll be taking care of most of the edits for us, at this price point. The other company, is the parent company. The reval company is gonna be working with the Patriot camera system, which is just an assessment database versus the Trio. The parent company for Patriot software is Catalyst. So I was trying to see, well, instead of having to export stuff from Trio and import it into CAI's tool, would it be simpler and more streamlined to go with the parent company for the future camera system? That price for that system, I understand, now is you pay for all those tools up front. It's about $13,000 expense, annually. So I said, well, we'll go with this one. We don't have staff readily, and they're gonna be necessary. We have some now that can do this. But we aren't built right now to have a staff person doing all of what it's capable of doing, so.
There's no.
Let's just focus on the parcel viewer
Yeah,
for now.
yeah.
We can add and expand that later if desired.
Okay.
But yeah, 60 to 90 days, once we sign that. That'll be a great tool for the public, the staff. It'll have our zoning maps in there. It'll have other layers, the state database as available. We asked them if they could put the aquaculture map that the state produces on there as a fixed one, people could toggle on and off.
Yeah.
Instead of having to go to the state site for it, and just like
That'd be good.
kind of
That's
be a
great.
one-stop resource for what we
Yeah,
know what they
interesting,
want.
yeah.
So that'll be nice to see.
Okay.
Any other questions, things that jumped out?
No, jumping right out. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have Will here tonight, Will Clark, he's been working with us as our summer intern. And primarily, a lot of his effort's been focused on trying to digitize our map and lot records. There are 2 4-drawer lateral file cabinets, you just the other day, we were at 5,500 documents.
47
pages.
About 4,700.
Yeah.
Pages.
4,700. So he's putting all of those up into what Mike Tatro had started, was a digitized map and lot system in Google Drive. The long-term vision of that is that could become publicly viewable. People don't have to be here to go see it.
Right.
We don't have to be open for them to, they don't have to wait all weekend if they've got a listing that they wanna see, or a sale they wanna close on a Friday when we're not open. And so eventually we can, and maybe we might even be able to integrate it, access to it through the parcel viewer. So if you click on your property and it pops up the data, the assessing data, you can print your property card, and then you might even be able to access some of your map and lot files. So your building permits that someone might have gotten before you were there, or a subsurface permit. If we've got it scanned and available, we can potentially link those two sources.
Right.
Nice.
Is
Keep
that
you busy.
something, that is something that other communities
Yeah,
have.
there's been some very interesting historical information.
Yeah, give us an example. What have you run into?
Goodness,
Yeah.
last week there was a saga between Milton Plummer and what's his name? This is up on Water Street. The carpenter, name is slipping my mind, but there was a property dispute, you know. So-and-so, the carpenter did, you know, was building a workshop, and big fight back and forth about he's making too much noise, I don't want you, so Plummer calls up Avantagio and is like, the lawyer, and it's like, let's get this wood shop stopped. This horrible wood shop. And it drags this poor guy, I still can't remember his name, just like through the mud for like 3 months. And and then eventually, so I'm like reading through all these files and
Interesting, wow.
and like the news clippings, and it's sure, sometimes you spend the day and you feel like, yeah, what am I doing if I scan 500 pages, and then you come across that and you're like,
And then you get a zinger.
I know, it's
There's drama in there.
right. So I'm busy and sometimes entertained.
So the other piece is that he's interested in, so Will grew up in Newcastle. So he's familiar with a lot of the town stuff, but maybe wasn't like into it, so to speak, but is aware and curious, and said he'd be interested in helping understand more about the public works venture between the two towns. And so he's helping us with some of that. He's working on some communication pieces right now. We went to Warren the other day, learned a little how their operation runs. So yeah, he's kind of dove right into that.
Nice.
That's great.
It's been just beyond great about this opportunity, and
Yeah.
The program is a statewide program, and was not at all expecting to be in my hometown.
That's, I'm gonna ask how you ended up here, and I didn't realize you were in Newcastle, but you ended up. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I know.
well,
They didn't wanna pay for your travel expenses.
I can walk by Glug, and it's like, I
Yeah.
can't complain, it's
Well, great. Oh, I appreciate you helping out. There's a lot to do, so. Great.
It should have been you guys.
Well, the only official action item we have tonight is some annual appointments on the back page here.
Right.
Looks like everything is there.
Advertise like the planning board, say there's openings and.
We've
just
done it
word of-
recently, it tends to be word of mouth. I mean, they haven't had the last year or two, while they're to step back.
Yeah.
Dan had stepped in as an alternate to be more available. We just put Natalie, I mean, some of them, there's just not a ton of turnover, some of them are kind of habitually vacant, budget committee, some last year had a lot.
Committee's full.
So we don't have like a standing dynamic, constantly updated list of what's available. We do from time to time say that there are openings on certain ones.
Yeah.
The sealer of weights and measures, and
Interested?
it's my understanding that it's obsolete, that the state does all that. They do all the.
If
Yeah.
we fail
Yes,
to
they-
appoint, the state will do it.
Right, your municipality can have one, but if we don't, the state steps in, yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, all right.
Yeah, so it's,
Not what I,
Let the state do it.
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I think we ought to just get rid of that.
I see them maybe, I see them once a year.
Dan is looking for something to do, but.
It's in charter for sure. I'm pretty sure it's also in statute.
Yeah.
The statute does say if a town does not appoint someone, the state does take it on. The state is also understaffed doing this task as high.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been,
We are not going around and testing gas pumps and all that kind of stuff. We don't have the capability, nor is anybody.
nor do we want to, no.
Right, exactly, so.
Yeah, so, but it has to remain with the, like I said, with statute and whatnot, it still has to
Still has. to-
Still has to be there, yeah,
We can't-
yeah.
Charter.
Yeah, it's through charter and state and statute.
Stand corrected.
But we don't have anyone qualified, or we don't have the tool, right? So practically, it's just
Yeah,
gonna be.
yeah, exactly.
No, and there's no, I know the state doesn't capture a fee from it, so I don't even know if the municipality could. So if you appointed somebody, you'd have the equipment layout, the time and the staff, and I don't know if there's a statute that allows you to capture a fee from it, because the state doesn't. So, and I do see them regularly. We went, there was periods of time where, it was years, between, weights and measures. And then recently, I'm trying to remember the gentleman's name, but it's been much more consistent. It's been almost annually, which, most of us prefer. As a different hat, we like having it checked. I'll make sure. So,
What do you
Yeah,
even
so-
do for it?
They might,
depends on so for like a gas station, they have, you use a calibrated catch can. They have calibrated cans, so I can only speak to what they do for liquid. But they have to measure flow rates and whatnot. You have to be within a certain spec, and you can be within of that and pass or fail. So they're basically measuring, if you're saying you're giving somebody a gallon of something, it has to be a gallon of something within a certain percentage.
yeah, it started out as an
So-
anti-fraud thing, because
Yeah.
people were cutting back, saying they're gonna give
Giving you,
you.
yeah, so it's literally weights and measures, making sure your scales or any metering device is doing what it's supposed to be.
Okay,
And then
okay,
you seal it, yeah.
like water and sewer.
But we definitely do not want to do, so we don't appoint anybody in there. That stays vacant, yeah.
Where's this road commissioner?
Yeah, the road commissioner.
For another couple of weeks, I gotta, have not had the meeting I need to have, so,
But you have someone in mind.
I hope so, yeah.
Okay, so right now, we're gonna leave that one vacant then,
To be
is what you're
determined.
asking.
I mean, just tabled for now, and,
Tabled.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
we can do all the other appointments, but yeah, all right, so I'll make a motion to move the annual appointments as presented, less the road commissioner.
Mm-hmm,
Will that cover you?
yeah.
Yeah. All right,
That one just tabled for now.
yeah, we'll table it, so everything but the road commissioner, so,
Mhm.
all right,
Second.
just a second, thank you, Tom, any discussion? All those in favor? Okey dokey. And I don't have to be the health officer.
So you need to do the planning board differently, because those aren't annual appointments.
Correct. We have to do that separately. This is not an annual
So
appointment.
the two, yes, so they. That one always throws me off with the planning board, because they're elected, but
Yeah,
then
you
the,
appoint those, period, just kind of as it comes up, and so it's not in the annual appointments by the way of the
Yeah.
charter, you just see that. The charter just says annual, you must appoint these
Yeah.
certain ones, this is just kind of an ongoing, typically it's a 3-year term. When there's vacancies in the middle of one, you deal with it as it comes in, just like another committee, basically.
gotcha, yeah, so we still need to appoint these ones too, so.
So we
I've
do
got-
have, they do
cover
tend to
the-
follow the fiscal years, you do have 2 sitting members whose terms were up. And Neil and Jenny, full 3-year terms, you have 2 alternate spots on there that are 1-year appointments. One of those folks is here tonight,
See somebody out there who's familiar?
I did learn from the last planning board meeting, Larry Seidlinger is interested in being an alternate, or being on the board.
Okay.
One of the alternate spots is available.
Yeah.
And so that was, I did confirm that with him. Happens
Do we have
shortly
3
after.
alternate spots for the planning board?
2 alternate spots by way of the,
Okay,
yeah, that's what there's 5 planning board members, 2 alternates.
Gotcha, okay, so we did, yeah, so we have to appoint these two, all right,
okay, and the alternates are always only for a year.
Correct.
1 year only, okay.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to appoint, Neil Gethner for a 3-year term, Jenny Beegan for a 3-year term, and then Danny Day as an alternate for a 1-year term, and Larry Seidlinger as an alternate 1-year term for the planning board.
Second that.
Did you catch that? I don't know what that was close. Got it. All those in favor? Okey dokey, yeah,
And if it so happens that we had multiple people interested in these positions, then we would go through a similar process as we did with the budget committee.
sure, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have anything for really any of our committees that kind of says these are the qualities or the skills or the technical, whatever that we're looking for. It's typically you're gonna, great, someone's interested.
that's, yeah, I
But
mean,
you
that,
might find yourself on certain boards saying like, great, well, we have someone who, maybe is a plumber and someone who's a carpenter already, and you can kind of
Right.
round out a group of a planning board, in a different way. But yeah, we don't have any kind of guidelines really for any of them.
yeah, to your point, yeah, typically in the past has been, oh, somebody wants to do it.
Thank heaven.
Yeah, which isn't necessarily the best way, but
Right,
it
right.
fills a position and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. Well,
You know.
well, some of these are more important than others, like fence viewer is.
If,
probably the
yeah,
boards.
I would say.
And the planning board's right at the bottom.
Exactly,
So-
if Charlie did not have his
Yeah.
fence viewer position,
Yeah.
we would, I think he still has cards, does he have his? I think at one point he had a card made up, so he could,
The statute around that is pretty interesting.
it is wild, yeah,
It's
it's,
like $3 a day or something when you're engaged and so much is paid by, I think it's split 50-50 or something
Yeah.
between the abutter. I don't know, it's like for a day's worth of work.
yeah, separate the mule trail from the cattle pen and get your fence right, it's awesome old statutes. All right, are we all caught up there? We do have an executive session, but before we do that, does anybody have anything to add this evening for any selectmen? Or select board, I said, select board, it's been a while, discussion items? Nope. Yeah, we good, okay, yeah, all right, I'm gonna make a motion and then we gotta kick everybody out, so. I'll make a motion to move an executive session pursuant to one MRSA 4056C to discuss the acquisition or use of real property. I just need a second. Dan's gonna second. All those in favor? Okay.